where we're unlocking the literal secrets of mastering your arm width. Today, we're digging into a fantastic piece of source material called the Brachioradialis Blueprint, Mastering Forearm Mass. We're going to break down exactly how you can transform your arms from the bottom up using some highly targeted, really structured techniques. So let's start with a seriously frustrating gym dilemma that I bet a lot of you are facing right this minute. Why do your arms look so small in a polo shirt? I mean, you're hitting your biceps every single week, right? Your upper arms are definitely responding. But then you put on a short sleeve shirt and suddenly your forearms look like they belong to a middle schooler. It's an incredibly common issue and honestly, it can be pretty demoralizing. Our source text actually captures the absurdity of this imbalance perfectly. It says that you're, quote, basically wearing a superhero costume with no wrists. It points out that you literally feel like you're sitting on two toothpicks. You've got this great bicep peak, sure, but it just tapers off into absolutely nothing. It looks completely unfinished. And that right there is the exact reason you still feel so narrow, even when you're fully dressed. All right, Section 1, the anatomy of arm width. To fix this whole issue, we need a complete paradigm shift. The secret that most guys completely miss in their training is that your forearms, not your biceps and not your triceps, are the actual literal foundation of your arm's visual width. Let's break down the visual math of building a proportional body here. Think about the ruined ratio concept. You can have massive 16-inch biceps, but if your forearms are flat, that ratio is totally ruined. Your upper arms just won't pop. But then look at the power frame approach. Thick forearms create true visual width. It's kind of like the logic of a V-taper on your back. If the bottom foundation is too narrow, the top simply cannot look impressive. So the absolutely crucial point here is targeting what's defined as the top ridge. This area is made up of the brachioradialis and the forearm extensors. Listen, if you don't actively build this top ridge, your arm frame is always going to look weak and incomplete. We have to start treating our forearms with the exact same intensity we give our chest, all to build what the source brilliantly refers to as wrist armor. Which brings us to move 1, the dead hang. Now, let's see how this builds into an actual routine. Most people think of a dead hang as just a nice, easy little stretch to cool down at the end of a workout. But actually, if you want to build a yoke that makes you look thick without even flexing, you need to master your grip, and this move is absolute ground zero. Here's exactly how you execute it to get those real results. Step 1, hang from a pull-up bar. Simple enough, right? But step 2 is the absolute game changer. Crush the bar. You cannot just dangle there like a piece of laundry. Step 3, keep your shoulders pulled down, away from your ears so your traps stay engaged. And step 4, you hold on until your hands literally start negotiating with your brain to let go. That intense, crushing tension is exactly what builds that deep, thick muscle density, making your wrists look like they're forged from steel. Moving right along to move 2, the wrist curl. While the dead hang builds that isometric density, the wrist curl is where you build the actual meat on the underside of your arm. You can grab either a barbell or a pair of dumbbells for this one. Really, whatever feels best on your joints. To fix a very common, momentum-based error, let's look at some mental imagery from the source. First up is the mistake, hilariously called summoning lightning. That's when guys use their entire arm to violently jerk the weight up, totally losing the isolation on the forearm. We do not want that. Instead, focus on the fix, pouring water. You want to imagine you're smoothly pouring water out of a pitcher. Keep the movement incredibly slow and highly controlled. Let's break down that pouring water execution step by step. First, you let the bar roll all the way down into your fingertips. Second, you want to pause and truly, deeply feel that stretch in the muscle fibers. Third, smoothly curl the weight back up into your palm and flex your wrist upward. And finally, squeeze hard at the very top. Maximizing that stretch at the bottom and that contraction at the top is exactly how you force that stubborn forearm tissue to actually grow. And that brings us to a massive, non-negotiable number, 20 to 30. Forearms are incredibly resilient muscles. I mean, think about it. They're used all day, every day for basic grip tasks. Because of that, they respond best to very high volume. You absolutely cannot stop at 10 reps here. You have to push those sets for 20 to 30 reps, just keeping going until that burn is utterly unbearable. That is how you trigger real hypertrophy. Next up, a pro tip, heavy hammer curls. This is your secret weapon for achieving a really fast visual win by targeting a very specific, often neglected muscle on the side of the arm. And this brilliantly illustrates what the source refers to as the carjack. The brachialis is this hidden muscle that sits underneath your bicep. When you train it with hammer curls, it builds up and acts exactly like a car jack, literally pushing the bicep and that top ridge of your forearm up and out. This creates instant visual width from the outside. It's an absolutely incredible mechanical advantage to exploit. To execute these hammer curls effectively, you must follow 3 rules. First, use heavy weight and allow for a little bit of controlled momentum. Second, remember you are targeting a muscle built for pure force, not delicate isolation. And third, do not baby the weight. Seriously, if you lift light and try to be too strict with the brachialis, it simply will not grow. You have to challenge it with real significant resistance. Alright, we have our 3 key movements. Let's enter our final phase, the forearm optimization plan. Knowing the right exercises is only half the battle, right? The actual programming is what gets you over the finish line. Our source material gives us a very clear, highly actionable directive here. Add these moves twice a week to stop chasing a bigger body and start building a better shape. If you consistently program that active dead hang, the high volume wrist curl, and the heavy hammer curl into your routine 2 times a week, you will stop looking like you're wearing a costume. You'll finally build the structure you need to truly fill out the sleeves of your shirts. Which brings us to our final question for you today. Are you ready to stop wearing a costume and build a frame that commands respect? It is time to stop treating the foundation of your arms like an afterthought. Oh, and by the way, if you want the exact set and rep programming, the author of our source text invites readers to comment the word grip on their original post to receive the full forearm optimization plan directly. I hope this breakdown gave you a super clear roadmap to better arm aesthetics. Thanks for joining me on